All right, what's going on, guys? Hello, hello. Sunday here, September 12th. So we're gearing up for another week. Okay, it's been a good start to the month so far. Last week was a bit of a shorter week because of the Labor Day weekend, but we're gonna have a full 5 days now, and we actually still have 3 more weeks in September, guys. So September has 5 weeks this year because well, it feels like five, but the August, I think September 1st is a Wednesday, so we had that as kind of 1 week, and then October 1st is going to be, I think, a Friday. So basically, we have 5 full weeks, guys. So we have a lot of time to hit our monthly goals, and there's a lot of room for improvement. If you've made some mistakes so far, if you're behind the 8 ball, if you need to catch up, tons of time to play catch up. All right, guys. So let's stay focused. Let's continue to execute, and let's just reach our goals, guys. Look at I every single day I am reading my weekly goals. And me personally, guys, I do 12 weeks at a time. But anyways, guys, remind yourself every day what your goals are and make sure you're doing the things that you need to do to hit your goals. All right. So for this upcoming week, guys, our economic calendar is quite light. All right. So there may be some stuff thrown in here. This is one thing I've realized recently, guys. The Fed speakers just kind of start like trickling in here, and actually you have to kind of keep an eye on this. So that's why I check it every morning. But in terms of big events to watch, we have CPI on Tuesday. We already know inflation's high, so there actually may be an opportunity for this to be bullish for the market. If the inflation comes in lower than expected, then that may mean that interest rates don't need to change, go higher, and that actually may be bullish. But I think that it's already pretty priced in that inflation it's going to be high here. So I don't think that this is going to be negative. I think if anything, this has a chance to be as a positive, upbeat. Other than that, guys, we have this. We have our obviously jobless claims every Thursday, guys. We have retail sales Thursday, Fed manufacturing index on Thursday as well. This is the big one. Quadruple witching. Okay, guys. So as the name implies, quad four. This happens 4 times a year. And essentially what quad witching is, guys, I know there's a lot of everyone's first idea is, okay, so how do I trade it? No, wrong. The most important thing with quad witching, guys, is understand that like you just need to sit on your hands and you need to avoid giving back. You need to avoid getting caught in any tough positions, oversizing, all that stuff. Quad witching, guys, happens 4 times a year. It's very crazy. What happens is your stock options, the monthly ones, expire. Index options expire. And what else? Futures options expire. And there's a fourth one. But basically, a lot of money is tied up in these monthly contracts. These contracts, we know contracts represent shares. So wherever the share price goes is going to determine whether, Warren Buffett gets exercised on some Apple, covered calls or this or that, like we're talking big, big, big money. Okay. We're not talking day trading. We're talking big positioning. Okay. So on quadruple witching, guys, the market makers and big hedge funds and not mutual funds, pension funds and, money managers, they have to kind of balance their book and they need to make sure, okay, I don't want to get exercised this much. So maybe they have to start dumping all of their contracts. Maybe the market maker doesn't want to pay out the $150 calls on Apple. So they're going to they're going to pin it at 149. So you trying to, scalp on Friday afternoon, Apple over 150. Meanwhile, the market maker is like, hey, I'm not letting this go above 150. You need to realize that and say, okay, I know that I need to be careful because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I need to be careful with. All right. So very, very important here, guys. We're going to see some crazy stuff this week with quadruple witching. All right. Earnings for this week, we have not a lot. We have Oracle. Okay. And that is pretty much it. We are starting to get right to the end of earnings season here, guys. So not a whole lot. We have Oracle, which is a big tech name, but other than that, not a whole lot to worry about here, guys. All right. So let's get into a few charts that I'm watching. I'll also going to refer back to these here, but let's start with SPY. So the first thing with SPY, guys, is look at the weekly chart. Okay. We have been in this trend all year. January right here. This is the start of the year. We have basically never traded below the 9 EMA on the weekly chart. Okay. And when I say basically, yes, we dip below here, but we don't actively trade below the 9 EMA. Okay. And now we're getting into this area and we're testing it. We also have, guys, the 20 SMA, or is it the 50 SMA right here as well? Let me, think it's the 50. But it's going to be the 50, I think, on the weekly. On the daily chart, guys, let me double check this here. Yeah, okay. So here, the 50 SMA, guys, again, out like look at just all year, guys. All year. We have the weekly 9 EMA, the daily 50. You know, we did dip below it here, but we're quickly bought back above it. So, and obviously you can also see the you know, just the overall trend line as well. So now the question is this going to bounce or is this going to fall through? I don't know. Me personally, guys, I've been calling this for a while. I think the highs for the year are in. I think there's no sense in being bullish here. At this point here, the S&P was up 22% year to date. That is 3 times the average that it normally goes up year on average return. So at this point, you're trying to squeeze a lemon that's completely dry, right? So in my opinion, there's only room for downside there. I think that we're going to break through this. Okay, guys. So that's what I'm preparing for. I'm not preparing for a dip, a bounce, and then again, another all-time high. I think that that mentality has happened so much here that it's going to catch a lot of people offside. All right. So the first thing to watch is going to be this trend line. We're going to have to watch our weekly 9 EMA. And then this level is going to be huge, guys, 435. Okay. Because under, you know, once we trade below this trend line, we're going to be below the 50 on the daily. We're going to be below the weekly on the, the EMA on the weekly. Now, if we break this level of support, we will officially be making a lower low. So you can see every low here is a higher low. Low, 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 low. Now, if we come in and we put another low in here, that sets up for a lower low situation. Even here in this pullback in March, held the low, higher low. Okay. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's be prepared for this to break. Okay. And if it wants to bounce and go back up, well, okay, we're going to be able to trade that too. But let's not get caught off guard here, guys. And I would just caution people. I know a lot of us want to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Guys, we were up 21% year to date. At some point, there's going to be a dip that is just selling because nobody wants to buy because they bought all year and now they're like, okay, let's get rid of it. We're done. 21% year to date, wrap it up. Okay. So that is what I will be watching on SPY. A few other charts that I really like here, guys, are going to be, I think Apple looks very similar to SPY. Apple had news Friday and basically tanked the entire market. Their news was that a judge ruled on their, I guess, App Store purchases, right? So either way, guys, this is coming to a very important level here. And yeah, look at the volume Friday, huge sell volume, very noticeably weak. It closed at the low of day, okay? Normally on a stock like Apple, when it has bad news, it's usually going to get bought up quite quickly. So we're going to be watching that level and then really this 145. Okay, so if we dip below this trend line here and below 145, I mean, this moved up really quickly. Okay, so this moved from 130, you know, there's a lot of room down here. Okay, guys, so keeping an eye on Apple this upcoming week. A few other stocks I like, really liking Roku here, guys. Okay, so again, all of these charts are starting to look very similar. If you see what I mean in terms of, let me get this. Okay, so again, every dip has been bought. Every dip has been, and the market makers want you to believe that. They want you to believe, hey, we'll be here no matter what. We'll buy the dip, and the Fed will buy the dip, and this and that. And they want you to believe that because eventually they're going to use retail to just sucker them all in, and then they'll dump it all, right? It's a tough game, but you guys, we know this, all right? We know this. We have to play it to our advantage. Roku here, guys, looking really weak. Had a strong double top. Breaking this again weekly trend line. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of the dip buyers who are probably going to get caught offside here. And so, yeah, we're going to have a very big level here, guys. This one here around 320 has been a huge level. Okay, we bounced off it here, held it here. And if we can fall through it this upcoming week, I really like that. Some levels I'll be watching are going to be around 300. Okay, whole number makes sense for it to try to bounce there. And then these lows here around 280. Okay, if we sell below 280, that will be quite impressive, guys. Me, in terms of being bullish on Roku, you guys know how where I tend to get bullish. I tend to get bullish on the lower RSI on the daily chart. So it's currently at a 34, 33, 34. I'll wait till this is at a 20 or 22 before I really start to try to look at buying this dip. And I think that this has a lot more room down. Okay. I mean, you can see here, right? The mentality. Oh, okay, buy this dip. Oh shit, now we're red. Okay, buy this dip. Okay, shit, now we're red. Right? So people eventually are just gonna say, you know what, fuck buying apartment. Like, screw buying this dip. We're not buying this dip. We're just gonna let this thing drop. All right. So that's kind of the mindset that I think a lot of the market is starting to lean towards. Amazon, I think, has an interesting chart here as well, guys, sitting right on the daily 9 EMA. Okay, so you can see how well this thing holds its EMA. On the way down, we traded below it, below it, below it. You don't really need to be bullish until we cross above it. And then we trade above it, above it, above it. And you don't necessarily need to be very bearish, at all. But now we're getting into this level here. Okay, guys, so keeping an eye on that. And noticing also that we have retail sales on Thursday. Okay, so let's keep an eye on Amazon leading into the retail sales, guys. What does the tape look like? Are they sweeping calls, puts? What's going on? And yeah, so this is more or less what I'll be watching on Amazon. 35.50, 34.50, and the daily 9 EMA. All right. What other one? Upstart. This one I think is going to be very interesting this week too. I think that, again, the market is so used to running this thing up. Bulls, when things tend to go to extremes, guys, that's when pain happens for people who don't see it coming. They think that the good times will last forever. And I like this Upstart stock. Riley, if you're watching, I like the stock, but this run has been incredible, guys. They reported earnings last month. This is August 10th. We are September 12th. And the stock has doubled from 130 to over a double, up to almost $300, right? Valuations always matter, guys. Okay, always matter. So some levels I will be watching is this 260 level and also this 9 EMA. We have not traded below the 9 EMA since this end of July. Okay, so if we do trade below that 9 EMA, I think we have a good opportunity to just see this thing kind of unwind. And this 260 level is going to be very critical here, guys, as well. This has been tested multiple times. Broke through here, held it the next day, held it the next day. So we've held this multiple times. We have the daily 9 EMA right here, just below it, 255. If we break both of those, guys, I think you could see 200 again, right? It was literally there 2 weeks ago. So I think you could see this at 200 for sure. That would be about a 30% drop off the highs, which on a stock like this, honestly, it's not going to happen in a week, but it may happen in a month, right? So by the end of September, this may be back to $200. All right. What other ones do we like? Upstart downside, Roku downside, Amazon downside, Apple downside. Some that I like to the upside here, guys. Actually, this one I think looks interesting as long as it can hold above it here, guys. I don't love what happened to it on Friday by the end of the day, but I am still seeing that this has potential. Okay, guys, so this has potential for a bull flag to move to the upside here. If the market gets strength, if it runs, I think that Netflix will lead the way. Also, guys, looking at a higher time frame here on Netflix, I mean, let's go even higher. Let's go to a monthly. This is just now breaking out, okay? After about 12 months of consolidation, sideways, going nowhere, right? This is now just beginning to break out. So I'm looking for this to continue, right? This is the one stock that I think, has a runway ahead of it and has a lot of room to move to the upside, okay? Other setup I like here, guys, is going to be DocuSign. I like DocuSign to the downside here a lot. Again, very similar to Roku in terms of it looked very bullish, had a strong double top, and we can see this double top here. And now it's just kind of selling off and has really no support until I think if you come into the daily chart here, we can find some levels in the 270 range. Okay, we have a level here. Okay, but other than that, guys, I mean, this thing, again, moves very straight up, basically parabolic. And now it's kind of double topped here and looking to roll over through the neckline around 280. 270 is going to be a big level. If we don't hold 270, it's going to be 250, 240, probably 220. Okay. So a lot of weakness in some of these charts, guys, is what I'm getting at. And I'm looking to trade these all to the downside. Okay. Keeping an eye on Shopify here at this 1400 critical level. Okay. So it looks far off right now, but it really is not that far off. So we're keeping an eye on that one as well. All right, let's go through a few of these. Dash, okay, Dash. First thing, I don't trade Dash a lot. And so, yeah, this looks good. Daily RSI, 70 has room to go higher. Yeah, I think this looks good. I think this looks good. As long as it holds above 200, we're good. The only thing I would caution against is if SPY does start to sell off, you just want to, don't marry this idea. Make sure that this is a name probably that you want to just trade the momentum in. And yeah, so I would just, I wouldn't put on too many big long-term, even swing trades on this. I would probably just try to hold on to this one. And actually, speaking of swings, D-Dog, guys, I cut this on Friday, okay? I did not like basically all of the action in the market on Friday, guys, which just felt very bearish to me, okay? I put on a swing here above 140, fell apart. And then basically just what happened with SPY and Apple on Friday, I wanted to go cash into the weekend. I had a great week, and I said, you know what? I don't need to let that spiral, right? Roku, we talked about Peloton. Peloton ripped, guys, and we're going to talk about Affirm as well, but I don't think Affirm is going to do anything, right? Which is unfortunate. We're going to see what happens, but Affirm did the same thing, guys. Yeah, this one looks okay. If it could break through this level here, guys, we have an opportunity. So through 120 looks decent. I'll have my alert set there. It's a pattern. It looks decent. Over 120 looks good. We also have all of these little rejection candles here, guys, right? So we have to take note of that. It's definitely not wide open. Then we have this level here at 127, then we have 130. So we're certainly not wide open, but it is, it's been very strong the last few days, right? Last few days, it has absolutely ripped. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Let's just skip quickly right to Affirm. The reason I don't think Affirm is going to do anything is just look at what it, huge move up, sideways. Huge move up, kind of sideways. And let's go actually, guys, and look at this one here, MongoDB. Same thing, huge move up, kind of just chopping around sideways. So I'm not going to be having huge expectations for Affirm. I don't think that they're going to just continue to rocket higher. A few levels I am watching, obviously, will be the all-time high level. Okay, but that is a long ways away. I think that's around 150, right? 148, 147 here, all-time high. So it would have to be a pretty monster move to get up towards that level. The other high here would be around 137 as well. So 137, 147. But yeah, for the most part, guys, I'm not hugely interested in this because, again, look at what the stock tends to do. Strong move up, kind of fall apart. Strong move up, kind of fall apart. Strong move up, fall apart. Strong move up. So I'm expecting kind of a fall apart, and then we get that next move higher maybe next week. Okay, but we'll see. Again, tomorrow pre-market, we may see Affirm up another 5, 6, 7%, and maybe we're going to have to trade it again. Maybe they're going to try to gamma squeeze it. I really don't know. But as of right now, based on the history, I think that it's just going to be a bit of a choppier move. Okay. What else? Peloton, Zoom, and then Facebook, FB. Zoom, yeah, not a huge fan of this setup here, really, guys. Honestly, I think Zoom is, I'll trade it like once a month, maybe if there's a good setup. This tried for the gap fill on Friday, rejected the gap fill. It started it and rejected it. And it also is not weak to the point where it's selling off to the downside. So I think you can make some scalps here, guys. I think the main priority with Zoom is to try to maybe trade it around news. I don't think it's the best stock to trade based just on technicals, like on high day and low day. It tends not to be the best with options, the spread, and so forth. So yeah, it looks decent here. I'll set an alert, but for me personally, I will. I like to trade this with news. Okay, and let me make sure I have an alert to it. The downside I really like because anybody who dip bought this, all of their stop losses are right here, right? And now that's kind of the problem. People who dip bought are trying to start selling now, and that's turning into a little bit of a problem. Facebook. This is all I'm watching. 385. That's it. That's it. Okay. I do think that. Sorry. I do think that this is a decent setup here under this. 373. Decent. But I think the better setup is definitely over 385 all-time highs if we get it. Okay, guys. Again, I am bearish the market coming into this week. Facebook is one of those stocks as well. All year, what is Facebook up year to date? You have to look at stuff like this, guys, because you need to. It's kind of like having an ATR, right? An ATR tells us how much can the stock trade intraday, and then just common sense tells you how much can Facebook move on the year. Performance year to date, it's up 38%. Okay, so what do you want Facebook to go up 60%? You want another 10%? another 20%. I don't know. See, I personally don't. I don't think that's going to happen. Right. So SPY at the moment, I think is still, yeah, 9. So we've given back about, whatever, 1.7% last week. We're still up 19% year to date, guys. Okay. Still a massive move. Okay. But that is it for me, guys. All right. So SPY, the main thing is just preparing yourself mentally for the market to finally drop. It has been it's tough because here's the problem here too, guys. When the market never drops, we very rarely get practice on trading red days, right? We open up and everyone's just, oh my God, what's going on? We run around their heads cut off. What's going on? What's going on? Nothing is going on, guys, right? The market just doesn't have to go up every single week, right? So that's it. That's it. That's all. So don't show up on a huge gap down and run around. What's going on? Who this, that? Like, I would just say, guys, be prepared for this because I know these red days catch a lot of people off guard, right? So it'll be interesting. If you're bullish, buy the dip here. I would probably, I would draw the line in the sand at this 435. If this doesn't hold, we have a long way down to go. All right, but we'll see what happens, guys. All right. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you in the morning.